Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face. The reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything.
Bill Maher has once again sparked strong reactions with his latest comments, and the response has been intense. Many on the left are still struggling with the outcome of the last election, where Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, and the explanations just keep coming. Maher, who openly identifies as a liberal, shared a blunt perspective that set off a wave of criticism. If you're interested in straightforward talk and the debates it creates, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned.
My message to the losers: losers, look in the mirror. No? Well, maybe you should. Sorry. Well, that's my feeling. Losers, look in the mirror, okay? For months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close? And they're right, it wasn't.
Maher's remarks hit a nerve and set off a strong reaction among many progressives. Rather than reflecting on their own missteps after Kamala Harris's loss to Donald Trump, some have pointed fingers at Russia, the media, voters, and just about anyone else. Personal accountability hasn't been part of the conversation, so when Maher began his monologue, many expected the usual political back and forth. Instead, he took a different turn, urging critics to stop complaining and take a hard look at themselves. That alone stirred plenty of frustration, but what really caused an uproar was his blunt, unfiltered follow-up. His comments quickly spread online, sparking one of the biggest debates in recent memory.
They could not conceive of a second Trump term, but they should have. When does America ever turn down seconds? I mean, come on. Look, this is just the facts. It's just the facts. Trump won all the swings, all 7. I mean, he ran the table. Trump won so big. Today he called the Secretary of State in Georgia and he asked him to lose him $11,000.
It's easy to see why Bill Maher frustrates so many on the left. Few things sting more than criticism coming from someone within your own camp. Many expect him to stick to the standard late-night routine, mocking Donald Trump, recycling predictable jokes, and keeping it safe. But Maher doesn't play by that script. Instead, he makes a point of calling out hypocrisy wherever he sees it. And when he directs that focus toward Democrats, his blunt critiques hit especially hard, often leaving his own side scrambling to respond and, at times, openly pushing back.
You know, he has an amazing coalition. He kept the old crowd that likes him. He got a lot of new voters. He got a lot of people who say they just want to see what he'll do. I call this the get the cat high vote.
Maher then pointed out what he sees as a major factor behind Donald Trump's return to the White House, keeping his loyal base energized while gradually attracting new supporters, a strategy the Democrats failed to match. By the end of Joe Biden's second year, many voters who had once backed him were already walking away. Among them were well-known figures like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, both openly distancing themselves from the party. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. eventually followed, frustrated with what he viewed as an increasingly out-of-touch direction on the left. Maher's takeaway was blunt but clear. Trump focused on building and holding his coalition, while Democrats struggled with division and risked losing their own core supporters.
We're going to keep doing jokes here, okay? Right? Both sides, right to the end.
Trump's ability to secure 52% of the white female vote was striking, especially given the non-stop controversies surrounding him. For years, legal battles and scandals were front-page news, with the media covering every detail in real time. The intention seemed clear: damage his image and weaken his political standing. Yet despite all the coverage and criticism, Trump emerged with several courtroom wins and, to the surprise of many, stronger support among white women voters. In the end, voters made their own judgment, one that defied the story much of the media had tried to push.
I've completely lost the ability to speak truth to both. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch.
While Trump was gaining unexpected ground with white women, Kamala Harris was losing support among black voters, a group Democrats have long counted on. Many felt the party had shifted focus away from core issues like economic opportunity, public safety, and education. Instead, the Democratic leadership prioritized causes that didn't always align with the priorities of these communities. Rather than listening and engaging in open dialogue, Harris and her team were often seen as pushing ideas in a top-down way. That approach backfired, leading to frustration, declining enthusiasm, and a message from black voters that their support could no longer be taken for granted.
But Kamala threw the environment under the bus to win the fracking vote in Pennsylvania and the automobile vote in Michigan, and then didn't win either. At the presidential debate, environment came up once, and Kamala used the opportunity to brag that we've increased domestic gas production to historic levels. And Trump, of course, called Mother Nature a childless cat lady. And now we're back to that, because the Democrat lost. So good luck to us and enjoy the impossible lobster.
This straightforward style is one of the main reasons many Americans connect with Donald Trump. He doesn't sugarcoat his words or hide behind carefully scripted lines. You may not agree with everything he says, but his meaning is always clear. Supporters see that as honesty. No empty promises, no vague political talk, just unfiltered positions. By contrast, Kamala Harris often struggled to deliver a consistent message. Her tone and talking points shifted depending on the audience, and she rarely offered firm stances on key issues. Many of her speeches were filled with general statements, but short on substance, leaving people unsure of where she truly stood.
Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face.
Maher's point was straightforward. If Democrats hope to compete in the next election, they need to move away from culture war politics and refocus on everyday concerns. By leaning too heavily on ideological debates, the party has distanced itself from many Americans who are more concerned with practical issues like the economy, jobs, safety, and stability. Policies, he argued, should reflect real-life priorities, rather than what's trending online. For many voters, the constant focus on identity politics has become more frustrating than inspiring. If Democrats shifted their attention back to core issues that directly affect people's lives, they would stand a stronger chance against a candidate with Trump's momentum.
I will conclude by saying the reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything. House, Senate, White House, Supreme Court, and left us completely unprotected and ready to be violated. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
Many Democrats have left parts of their own base frustrated. By pursuing policies that don't seem to match the everyday concerns of most Americans. While families were struggling with high prices and stagnant wages, the party often put its focus elsewhere rather than on inflation or job growth. On the international stage, as America's rivals grew bolder and allies voiced concern, Democrats continued to highlight domestic cultural debates that proved deeply divisive, such as rules around youth medical care and participation in women's sports. For many voters, this gave the impression that leaders were prioritizing ideology over practical solutions. Instead of uniting people around shared values and urgent challenges, the party's agenda often deepened divides and signaled that politics was coming before the public's immediate needs.
What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed it because it wasn't on TikTok.